February 23rd, 2013, I told my mother. I came out to my mother today and she said this: "I will not even consider or accept this until you are 18. I understand the reasons why. I do, but it's just like I feared. She thinks that it's just a phase." I started hiding things from my family. I started not talking to them as much. And I thought, because my mom was at the time the center of my world, and I'll explain a lot more of this in other videos, I thought, okay, so we're staying inside today. It's not too cold for me. It's just wet and damp and cold and So here's what we're gonna do instead. I'm going to grab myself and then take off this jacket. Then I'm gonna grab some coffee. And no, I think that's it. Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's start the video. So first things first. Here's what happened. I went to record this video, and I got my coffee and all that. I recorded that at like 9 a.m. It's now 1 p.m. because I'm bad at time management. I managed to film a TikTok in between then, and on the other hand, though, I have set it up so that I won't have to be like speaking directly in a microphone, because now the microphone can actually hear me. So hi, I'm Rose. If you're new to my channel, then I've started a series where I am talking about my transition. And last week I left on a last week for me. But last time I did a video, I left off on a very hard topic for me to talk about, and that's when I came out to my mom. My phone died. That's why it ended where it did abruptly. That wasn't my choice. My phone died, and I didn't want to film any more of that, because it was a hard enough topic to talk about, and there's about 5 minutes of uncut footage, or of 5 minutes of footage of just me staring kind of off into the distance, looking at the blog that I had, and rereading the same post over and over again. It wasn't a fun time in my life. But that video got a lot more positivity than I thought it was going to get. It got more attention than I thought it was going to get. I thought I was just going to make it for my family, but people found it and liked it. So that's cool, and if I can help you out in even the slightest way, then that's great. However, I will once again leave the disclaimer that our transitions will be different, but our experiences might be the same. So if your experience is anything like this, then please let me know. I liked responding to comments, and I liked hearing them. I had a comment last week asking if somebody could pull on my doggy collar. I don't have the comment anymore. I deleted it, but they were talking about this. They're asking if they could pull on this. And, well, I mean, I guess, yeah, you could, but don't. So, you wanting to pull on the dog collar does not help it at all. So don't be a creep. I'm sorry, that was kind of creepy. That was kind of creepy. The other comment I heard was that my hair was in my face too much. So I got a beanie. When we last let off, we were talking about how my mother was the end-all be-all for the household. Now, I don't want to go too deep into how my family worked. I don't want to talk about how everything happened entirely. Like, I don't want to get into details. But in my household, it was just me, my mother, my sister, my brother, and my grandmother. And my mother and grandmother were strict on their rules. Rules that they didn't agree with each other on half the time. So that led to a lot of different conflicts. There were emotional things that were going on around that time. There were some other influences like nicotine, and I think around that time my mom was quitting smoking. I think that was around that time. I'm not entirely sure when it was, but she switched to vaping, and she had withdrawals and so on, and she was a bit of an asshole. And by a bit of an asshole, I mean she was an asshole. And she was aggressive, and sometimes she didn't like people fighting or going against her wishes and so on. And so me being trans was not something that I saw as with her wills or her orders. So I just kind of hid. And I hid away all of that. I couldn't act straight because, let's be real, I'm not straight. I realized last video that I posted a whole, like, MLP video that, it makes no sense because everyone who's new to this channel is like, Rose, why is there someone called Emmy Leigh? That was my old username. That was my username literally before October. So I asked them to call me Emmy for a long time, and I had a bunch of people who respected it, and it was nice. But then I proceeded to be in the closet for the next 6 years. That wasn't fun. I secretly tried to sneak stuff in when I could. All my characters became female. My brother would constantly ask, why are you always playing a female character? I'm like, I don't know. Why am I? I guess it's just she has a nice butt. It's because of that butt, yo. So I continued everything. I had a couple of relationships that fell through because I was trans. I dated a girl for a week that was like, oh, maybe, you know, I like you. Maybe, you know, we could work out things together. And then at the end of the week, she was like, no, I'm sorry. I can't because you're trans. I just can't date that. I can't do that. What? Okay. That's fine. That's fine. No, it's okay. It's cool. I also have some horror stories of people who didn't believe it. I was in a singing competition. There were people who questioned it there. I was in a group. I was in a Danganronpa dub group. You can tell by my smile, this is my favorite subject in the world. No. I was in a Danganronpa group, and one of the people there... Oh, hold on. No, this is a quote to read out. I'm posting this here because I don't want anyone else to see this. You honestly sicken me. I've had a bad feeling about you since day one, but I shrugged it off. The transgender thing honestly made me incredibly uncomfortable, but I put up with it. You know why? Because it was about respect. For a time, I did respect you, you know, but that thing you've never once shown me? This person was somebody who would constantly join calls and, yell, like flat out yell, if we made a decision without him. We were the heads of the studio. Sure, there's backstory and there's whatever his side to it was. Everyone pretty much agreed that that was weird and that he was being bad. But I've been called a snake. I've been called fake transgender person, apparently. I think these disagree with you. I think these disagree with you. I think... So let's continue. So as time went on, my hair's still slipping down. As time went on, I continued to hide it. I continued to grow more and more in the closet. More people refused to date me. More people refused to, like, talk to me because it didn't align with their views. Some people were like, you know, if you're trans, you're gonna go to hell. That's against God. You're basically telling God that, you know, you don't agree with his choices. Bitch, I'm gay. I'm going to hell anyway, according to your book. Also, have you even seen my collar? I'm a slut. Honestly, I kind of figured I'd have more to speak about with a lot of this, but it just comes down to people suck, and I had to get to the right place. I ended up moving in with a couple of people here in Washington that I won't talk about, but they got me in with the doctor, and the doctor was like, hey, you're all good. Matter of fact, the doctor told me I have less testosterone than normal DMAB. That's what it is. Designated male at birth, DMAB. I have less testosterone and more estrogen, sort of thing. And that was cool. Unfortunately, it means I'm not going to the next stage of estrogen for a while. So, June 11th, 2019 rolled around, and I got my very first dose of the titty skittles, the memory maker, codes to the areola access, feminine hormones. That's right, I take spironolactone and estradiol, and that is how I started my transition. What the fuck is with my hair? I literally got a beanie to fix this issue. Here's what I looked like week 1. And week 11. Last month. Now. And things are gonna keep changing. The first thing I noticed was you have to pee a lot. Like, you have to pee a lot. Like a lot, like a fuck ton. I used to, like, I don't know, it's weird, but I feel like I used to pee like once every day. Now it's like multiple times a day. I think at this point I've just gotten used to it, and it's like 3-4 times a day. The second thing that I noticed was mood swings. I had mood swings like crazy. I had panic attacks because I ran a channel called Featherfall, and I panicked over that weekly. But it got worse. I had panic attacks over practically everything. And my depression? Well, my depression decided, maybe you're happy one day, maybe you're not. I was sad this morning, but now I'm fine. It just happens, you know? Then, after that, around the 2 month mark, maybe 1 month, 2 months, I don't know, I started getting chest pains. That's cool. What? When you start hormones, you're basically forcing stuff that happened within the span of years, in the span of 1. Or at least that's how it was described to me. All that stuff is being shortcutted, and you go through what is called second puberty, and everything sucks, everything hurts. I'm kidding, it's none of that, please calm down. My boobs hurt, and anytime I brush them against something, it hurt. And now, I'm having trouble, like, laying in certain places that I used to lay because it kind of irritates me. And that's generally not too fun. But it does get better. Because then I started noticing my skin getting softer. I started noticing that it took a while for my facial hair to grow in, which is nice. I started noticing that I have a butt and I'm getting kind of thick. I was already kind of thick, but I'm getting kind of thick. I don't think you'll see a happier smile from me than that one. But things started seeming okay. And then something hit me. I am going to have to tell my family at some point. Because I left Kentucky, where I lived before, because I couldn't be free, because I felt bad. I felt mentally and somewhat physically abused from the whole situation. And so I bailed. But I couldn't stay away from them forever. So what do? So in August, I devised a plan. I was going to make a video over the course of this year. The year being 2019, it's 2020 now, but you get what I mean. Over the course of 2019, I was going to make a video. I was going to have pictures, I was going to have a transition timeline, I was going to slowly, subtly make my changes on my social media. And then, my original plan was on New Year's Day, I was going to out myself. Then I broke up with the people I was with. And made a lot of choices. I regret almost none of them. Right now. And eventually, I got to the point where I decided, fuck this. If they don't like me, they'll just have to deal with it. The knuckle cracking was not to indicate that I was going to punch them, it was just because I wanted to crack my knuckles. But, nonetheless, they were going to have to deal with it. So I made the video. And I uploaded it. Let's take a quick side note here. Rose presents Rose's Theater. Written and directed by Rose, except for this is all improv, and I don't know what I'm doing. Yes. Hello, Grandmother. I like this food that we are currently having. I'm glad that you enjoy your food there, dearie. I spent an awfully long time making you that food. That was delicious. Tell me, impart your wisdom onto me, Grandmother. What should I do with my life? If I had one thing to tell you, hon, it's that no matter what you do in your life, don't be gay. And see, that was a conversation between my grandmother and I. And it's a real conversation that we had once upon a time. She told me not to be gay. And then I come out. Through wherever you've been, through wherever you've been, through wherever you'll be, through wherever you'll be, through whatever you lose, through whatever you lose, you will always have me, you will always have at the end of your road, at the end of your road, I'll be holding you tight, I'll be holding you tight, I'm gonna be right by your side no matter what, be right by your side, be right by your side, be right by your side no matter